Everyone, Leanne here from Kingdom Bloggers. So today we're going to talk about updating older content. More specifically, I'm going to show you how to do a content audit of your site so that you can see exactly where your content ranks or if it's ranking, and then create a plan from that for what should be updated and in what order. You always hear about updating older content and you're like, okay, well, I'll just pick this one or maybe I'll do that one. Well, that's chaos, right? Like with no kind of frame of reference, no plan, no framework or anything. So we're going to use a tool called Ahrefs, and it's going to be the free version so everybody can use this. And I'm going to show you how to run an audit of every link on your site so that you can see exactly kind of where your content is ranking. Now, this is really only for anyone who has actually been blogging for well over a year. Like you have content that's over a year old. If it's less than a year old, you don't want to touch it. But if it is over a year old and it's not driving any traffic at all, then we want to take a look and see why and how we can update it so that it can start driving traffic. And, unfortunately, you may find some of it is absolutely not salvageable. And so we'll talk about what to do with that. At the end, the goal here is to ensure that every published piece of content that is accessible by the crawlers has some kind of SEO value. Now, you may be actually surprised when you run this audit to find that Google's actually ranked it, but it's not on page 1. Maybe it's on like page 10 or page 5 or something. So we're going to kind of dive into that, see what that looks like, and then how to organize all of that once you've done the audit to determine what you should be working on first and how to go about updating it. Okay, so let's hop over here. So, like I said, it's the free version of Ahrefs, which is what you're going to do. But first, before you do that, you need to have a spreadsheet of every URL on your site. Now, there may be some plugins out there that enable you to do this. I'm not specifically aware of any of those. From day one, for all 3 of my sites, I started every time I'd hit publish, I would hop over here to the spreadsheet and put the link and the date published. That's important. And so your spreadsheet should be oldest at the bottom and then just keep adding to the top. I publish a new post, I'll punch it right here. I'll add a few more lines. If I need to insert some more just to keep it going. So we're going to start at the bottom. Now, the first thing you're going to do, of course, so this may take you some time. If you don't have this spreadsheet, this is step 1, create your spreadsheet. You need the date it was published and then the full URL. So these 2 columns here, right? Now, these are the columns that we're going to be filling in with the information from the content audit. So we're going to come down here. So what we'll do once you get all the spreadsheet created, you're going to go up to about a year from today backwards, right? So basically, we're not going to touch anything that's this month, last year, or earlier. So we're in August right now. So I would basically go back to August of 22. And so I actually did my audit in June. So you'll see my green line here. That's what this green line is for. I was doing my audit beginning in June. So on here, my start date, my line is June. So for you, whatever month you're beginning this, just make it a color so you know. Don't worry about anything above that. And you'll notice all my details, my data here, the stuff in this column, it stops right here. That's why. And so we're going to come down here to the bottom. Now, I'm going to explain to you 5 categories of content that we're going to eventually put everything in as we run it through this audit tool. So it's going to be 1 through 5. The first category 1, is going to be any URL that has keywords ranking in positions 1 through 4. So that's basically the top of page 1. Page 1 has approximately 10 results that show up, unless you have like endless feed, but still 10 is like where it kind of cuts off, and then 11 begins page 2. So anything in category 1 is currently ranking for keywords in position 1 through 4. And we're gonna hop over and I'm gonna show you exactly what that looks like. Category 2 is still on page 1, but it's position 5 through 10. So it's at the bottom of page 1. So on these, you may get a trickle of traffic, like maybe 1 or 2 visits here and there, but it's because it's at the bottom. Studies show that there are more clicks to the things in that 1st through 4 position, maybe 5 position, but we go with 4. Category 3 is going to be position 11 through 20. So that's basically page 2, anything on page 2. Typically, these get 0 traffic, but the keywords are indexed and it shows up in results. So that's a good start. Category 4 is anything position 21 and higher. This is anything page 3 and beyond. And then category 5 is going to be content that has 0 ranking keywords. Like when you pull it up, and I'll show you what that looks like, it says nothing. Like there's nothing there. It says there's no ranking keywords. This is what we call dead content. It has currently no SEO value. So with your dead content, we're actually going to kind of subdivide that down into other subcategories. But oftentimes you'll find that this is a lot of those very first posts that you wrote before you knew anything about blogging, like welcome to my blog, or maybe it's short little just daily devotional things you were publishing that has like 500 words or less. There's never going to be SEO value in that. And so you'll have kind of two options for the dead content. The first option is dead. It's like, what was I thinking when I wrote this? It has 0 value. And that again would be the welcome to my blog kind of post, things like that. And so with those, you're going to delete that content. You're literally just going to hit that delete button. Now, if you're using Rank Math, you can create and should create a redirect so you're not having 404 errors, broke dead links basically. And so you'd hit the delete button and then immediately create a 404 redirect to your homepage. And then there's no broken links. Now, let's say the content does have value and you can find other uses for it. What are other uses? Other uses would be you maybe send the link out in email, or you share it on social media from time to time, or it makes for a really good internal link in some of your really good SEO content, right? And so any content like that, instead of deleting it, you will go into Rank Math or Yoast if you're using Yoast, and you will make it no index. So it's still on your site, it's still accessible when you put the link out there, but the crawlers do not crawl it. And therefore, so with SEO on your site, on-site SEO, you have all your content, and it's like a ratio. The more content that you have that's not good, and when I say good, I'm talking about SEO value good, the more of that you have, it actually takes away from the score that you get from the good content. So you can have some really great content and SEO, you're getting cool points on the SEO thing, but they kind of weigh it on all this other content that has no value, and that can actually bring down your rankability. So we only want good content. Again, good being SEO good. So if it's things that you want to keep and have value in, for your audience, for other purposes, making it no index simply tells the crawlers don't grade this. They don't scan it, they don't crawl it, they don't use it as a grading factor for your overall SEO score. Okay. So now back to positions 1 through 4, or I'm sorry, categories 1 through 4. The way this will work out, and we're going to go through showing you how to do it in just a minute, but just to explain how to use this tool, once you've completed your entire audit, you're going to go through and sort of filter so all the 1s are together, the 2s are together, and so forth. Your category 1, that's already at the top of page 1. So you're not going to touch these. No matter how much you want to, don't touch it. It's already doing what it's supposed to do. And so making any updates to it or anything like that could jeopardize its standing. Where you are going to begin your updating plan. So let's say, you're publishing 1 post a week and you're like, I want to update 1 or 2 posts a week. Which one should I do? You're going to start with your category 2. Category 2, it's on page 1, but it's at the bottom. And just a few minor edits, updates, adding a little more content here. And I'll do another tutorial about how to update content. But for the purposes of this video, we just want to talk about which ones to update. But these category twos are going to require the least amount of effort to get them into that 1 to 4 position. And that's the goal. We want it on page 1, but we really want it at the top of page 1. And so, right now you may be getting maybe 2 or 3 visits a month to this post, but by moving it up, you could, depending on the search volume of the keyword you're targeting, I mean, that could go from 2 to 4 posts or 2 to 4 visits a month to like 2 to 400 visits a month, right? And so also the fact that it only takes minor edits to it, you could get more of them done in a shorter amount of time. And so getting all of your category twos done will result in an almost immediate jump in your organic traffic. Once you've completed all of your category twos, you will then move on to your category 3. So this is content that's on page 2. Could be at the top, could be at the bottom, but it's just page 2 content. Probably dead. It probably gets 0 traffic right now. So by making a few edits, now with category 3 content, page 2, you'll probably need to make a little more effort to do the updates, maybe editing your headings, reorganizing kind of how you have it structured. Google's saying, I understand what this post is about. And so it's not quite good enough for page 1. And so a few minor tweaks to the outline, to the format, to some keywords, maybe adding a little bit of content to it, things like that, we'll move it to page 1. Boom, you'll start getting a little bit of traffic to that. If it makes an appearance at the bottom, if it makes an appearance at the top of page 1, even better. But again, your category 3s will take a little more time than your category 2s because they are on page 2 and it takes a little more to get them good enough for page 1. So complete all your category 2, then complete all of your category 3. Once all of that is done, then you can begin working on your category 4. Now, category 4, it's been indexed, but it's like way page 3 and beyond. Like it has no traffic now. But Google said, hey, I understand what this is about. It's not as good as your other ones that are on page 2. Like it's a little worse, but still get it. So these are probably going to need some major overhauls, major restructuring of the outline, the format, maybe retargeting the point of the post. Like many times you'll find that a post ranks for maybe a variation of a keyword, but not really what you were writing about. But if Google's ranked it for that, then you should rewrite it for that. Then it will begin ranking higher for that. Okay. So again, category 1s, we don't touch. Category 2, that's bottom of page 1. Those are the first ones. You're going to get all of those done. Don't worry about any category 3 or 4 at this point. Get all of your 2s done because the whole point of this is of all that content you need to update, putting it into an order that you get the most return for the time you invest on it. I'm all about ROI, return on investment, because we're more effective when we get more done in less time, right? And so if you're spending this initial time updating those category 4s, well, that's going to take you a lot of time. And so in the span of a week, you might get one of those done. And, because it's so far back in the back of the line, it's going to take Google a little more time to move it to page 1. But in the span of a week, you could effectively update 5 or 6 of those category 2 posts. And those are going to bring an immediate release because they're already right there. They're already on page 1 and just a little fine tuning, and they're going to bring so much traffic. So you want to spend your initial time working on those. And then later on, when you have time, you're still publishing new content, you're still doing whatever things you're doing. Those are the times that you could say, okay, I'm going to begin working on this one post because I know it's going to take longer. And that's pretty much it. That is how you go about updating your older content. Now, if you do your audit and all of your stuff is like on category 4, and I laugh, but this happens a lot, especially for bloggers who've really not taken the time to learn SEO, then I would say once you've done your audit, if that's you, if every single post on your site is category 4 or dead, you really need to stop and invest in the time to learn SEO. My free courses, I mean, you can learn the basics of how it works, and you don't even have to take my paid courses. I mean, I do encourage that because you'll learn so much more. But this is how you start generating that organic traffic so that you can reach whatever goals you have, build your subscriber list, monetize, sell products, whatever it is, with less stress. Okay. So for those of you who kind of got the whole SEO thing and you're like, okay, I really need to drill down on it, this strategy is going to really help you. I mean, I would say 10x your effort. Right. So you're not blindly, aimlessly sort of like, okay, I'm just going to, drop the pin on my list and whichever one it lands on, that's the one I'm going to update today. Y'all think I'm joking. I've had somebody tell me they do that. So, a couple of years ago, they don't do that anymore. But anyway, I hope this was super helpful. Oh, and so let me say real quick. So as you go through each one, actually, that's what I need to show you. My bad here. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to copy it. And we're going to hop over here. So in the Ahrefs, the free version, you only need the free version. I do have the paid version, but for you to do this, you only need the free version. You're going to come over here on this left side under organic search and click on organic keywords. And then you're going to plug that full URL in right here and hit enter. And then it's going to bring this up. So position, this column right here is the one you're looking at. Now, I'm not certain if the free version enables you to toggle this button, but if it does, then toggle it because it removes image rankings. We're really only concerned with content rankings. And so you'll see here, so this one was lost. So my earliest appearance with a higher keyword is position 11. Now, as you're kind of going through this, you may have some appearances that are like, say, the volume is maybe 50 or something. But if you see one a little lower that has a higher volume, then I would use that position number as your where it's ranking because that's when you want to rank for. Mine just happens to be a high one at the top. So I'm going to position 11 is what? Category 3, because 11 is the top of page 2. And so you see I have a 3 here. Now I use column D for notes, and notes could look like whatever you want them to look like. Right now I'm putting the exact position just for my own frame of reference. So it's category 3, position 11. Now these were some that were dead. This one, it's dead and it's image only traffic. So it does get traffic, but only from image searches. And so you'll just go up the list, put your number in here, and that's it. Now, when you go to begin updating each individual piece, so if I was doing, so where's a category 2? Prayers for pain relief. So if I had just updated this one, because it's category 2, and that's what I want to start with. Once I finish, I make the updates. I edit the date of publish. Now, do not edit your date if you have the date in your permalink structure. So if the URL for the blog post actually has the date in it, then do not edit the date because that changes everything. But if your URL structure, your permalink is yourblog.com/slug, then edit the date and hit update. And that'll make to where it was published today. So that makes Google see it as newer content. Again, you should only do this if it's over 12 months old. So I would, where did I go here? I would cut this from right here, cut it, and then I would bring it up to the top of my list and I would paste it right here and put today's date. And so you see these that say updated. These are all ones that I've recently updated. This one I kept the ranking of where it was just so I could watch it. And so you see these here don't have the word. These are brand new posts. And that's just for my own knowledge. So I can track the ones that I have updated to see how they're doing. If I suddenly start getting traffic to one of them, I'll know this is one I recently updated. So this column D, you can, I mean, whatever notes you want to put in it. There have been times for my Kingdom site where the ranking keyword, like where I had mentioned before about I wrote this post or this post was written on my site. I don't write most of that content. And 2 or 3 years later, it's ranking on page 2 for a query that's related to what it's about, but it's not really the way it was written. I'm trying to think of an example. Um, how to, like, what is gratitude? Maybe that was like what I was trying to write about, but then Google ranked it for ways to show gratitude. And what is gratitude was not ranking. I was not ranking for that keyword, but ways to show gratitude was ranking. And it was like on page 3. So I would write notes here that say rewrite for this other query. And so instead of just making little tweaks in it, I would create a new outline for that target, for that keyword. And I would rewrite the entire piece, focus on that new query that it's already indexed for. And then I would delete what's currently in that spot and I would paste the new version right in it, change the date and hit update. Of course, edit the images or whatever. And then now Google's already said it thinks it's about this. So now I just made it really better about this. And so the chance of it actually moving to page 1 for that keyword is pretty high. Now, also, the other thing you want to do is once you've updated a post, you're going to go to Google Search Console. And up here at the very top, this inspect, whatever the URL for the post is, you're going to paste it in here. So I'm just going to pull one up. It's going to retrieve, and it should say URL is on Google. And you'll see here, has the page changed? Yes. Request indexing. You're just going to click that button. It's going to circle for a minute and it's going to come up with a little message that says this has been resubmitted. And basically what this does, the crawlers are constantly coming to your site and just scanning everything to make sure everything's good. That's how it finds broken links and 404 errors and all that. So it's always coming by. But this message is telling the crawlers, hey, this content has specifically changed. Please go check it first. And so it prioritizes crawling this link when it does come to your site. And then it'll see that the content has changed and then it begins re-indexing it, which hopefully after it re-indexes, it will make appearance on page 1 much higher than what it currently is. And so you want to do this every time you update one of these older posts. Okay, so I hope this made sense. Again, the first part of this is creating that spreadsheet. That is so important. Every time you publish a new post, just paste the URL in there and the date that you published it, the most recent at the top. That way you can work your way up. As you begin this audit process, only work back from 12 months and earlier. This last 12 months of content, it takes a good year for content to really get indexed where Google thinks it belongs. And so don't go back and make changes to it just yet. Unless you just didn't know what you were doing, you had no clue what SEO was. Then I'm not talking about that. But if you did, you kind of understand SEO and you've been working, you've been making progress. These are ones that it still needs time to simmer. And so after that 12-month mark is when you can begin working on it. But 5 categories, work on category 2 first, get all of them done before moving on to category 3. And that way you are getting more accomplished in a shorter amount of time. That's going to bring you a higher return, which is the traffic. The return that we're looking for here is traffic. And this will take the guesswork out of that whole, what blog post should I update? This is going to lay it out for you, so there's no questions. So, okay, everyone, if you have any questions at all, please, of course, comment below or hop over to the Facebook group. Let me know, and I'll try to help you navigate through that. And as always, be sure to like this video and follow us here at Kingdom Bloggers, and I will see you guys all later. Have a great week. Bye-bye.